Hello, everybody, and welcome to my review of The Boys Season 2, Episode 4. This episode was definitely weird. It was slower than the first three, and it was broken up throughout the whole episode with interviews for the Deep's new wife. Apparently, getting a new wife is going to help him get back into the Seven. And then we go to Kimiko, who's watching Stormfront on TV, and she's crying. And Frenchie, he's in a bathroom getting high, and then he comes in and tries to kiss Kimiko to help her feel better, and she rejects him, and he ends up running off. And then we have Billy meeting Grace at the apartment buildings where Stormfront killed a whole bunch of people and blamed it on the terrorist. She gives him a 70s ad featuring Liberty, and it tells him to have Mother's Milk go down and investigate it. And then she also slips Billy the address of where Beckett is. So Butcher runs right off back to the boys and puts Mother's Milk in charge. So they basically go on a road trip with Huey and Starlight. And Stormfront, in the meantime, is rallying people to her cause and telling them to be mad about everything that Vod's done with Compound V and superheroes not really helping people out. Homelander is literally on a nervous breakdown. He's really ready to get rid of the Seven. He goes to a cabin where Doppelganger is pretending to be Madeline. So he can do like self-help therapy. And she tells him everything that he wants to hear about how everybody loves him, how everybody adores him, to basically boost his ego, and that he doesn't need anybody but himself. So he goes and starts systematically trying to get rid of everybody in the Seven. So he goes back to Vought Tower, and he confronts Starlight over in an elevator over not killing Huey, and almost kills her. She tells him straight out that part of her wants to blast Huey in the face, but she's not a murderer like him. And then he goes up to this meeting where A-Train is, and basically fires A-Train because he can't run anymore. His heart's bad. And then they're on a show. Him and Maeve are on a show. And the hostess asks the question about how the Seven are all white and they don't have any diversity. And Homelander says, "Oh, we have A-Train, we have a gay on our on the Seven as well." And she's like, "You have a member of the gay community on the Seven?" And he's like, "Yes." And she's like, "Well, who is it?" And he says, "It's Maeve." He outs Maeve right on national television, and then confronts her about her girlfriend. And she's like, "What'd you do to her?" And he's like, "Well, nothing yet." So basically, she's scared for her girlfriend. And then we go to Central Park, where Huey and Starlight are meeting. And she tells Huey that she doesn't feel like she can go back to the tower because she doesn't feel safe there. So Huey goes and convinces Mother's Milk to allow Annie to go on the road trip to find out about Liberty with him. And so they end up driving down. And Mother's Milk's not really happy about it because he feels like he's chaperoning. They sing a song together, and then they end up stopping at a diner. And at the diner, Mother's Milk and Annie, Starlight, talk about their dads. So then they go and find this woman whose brother was killed by Liberty, and she was paid off by VAT to not talk about it afterwards. And she only got paid like $2,000. So that's all her brother's life was worth. And she tells him she's still scared of Liberty, and they were telling her Liberty's like 70 years old. She can't really be a threat anymore. And she shows them a picture of Stormfront. Sorry, I almost said Starlight. Stormfront. And they're like, well, wait, what? And she's like, that's Liberty. So basically, Stormfront has changed her identity from Liberty and changed her power set, apparently. So somehow they can do that, which is really weird. And then we cut to a scene where Billy is climbing over the wall to where Becca and Ryan are being held. And he runs off, and he ends up talking to Becca and trying to convince her to run away with him and taking Ryan. So they end up meeting a couple of times, and then finally, before they part ways, she tells him that she can't go with him because he'll try to get rid of Ryan in some way. And he's like, no, I won't. And she's like, no, you will. She's like, you'll convince me to leave him, or you'll do something. So she tells him that she hit this button, to call security, so he needs to leave, and she drives away. So that's where we end that with Billy. So I'm not sure what they're going to be doing with his arc after this, because it was basically all about finding Becca. And then Homelander confronts Stormfront about everything she's been doing, because he's the face of VAT and not her, and she tells him that he needs to change with the times because he's pathetic, that he wants everybody to love him. And she changed. So he almost kills her, and she's like, back off, you just need to work on your branding. And he ends up leaving. And then he goes back to the cabin where Doppelganger is for basically one last time. And he starts talking to her. And she tells him that everybody loves him, and he's like, no, I only need me. And she's like, no, you're right, you only need yourself. So she shape changes into Homelander. And at first, Homelander doesn't know what to think, because she's basically coming on to him, saying that she's going to sleep with him as Homelander. And he's kind of like, what? And then he's like, you know what? No, I don't need you. I only need myself, and snaps Doppelganger's neck. So he ends up killing Doppelganger, and that's basically the end of the episode. Overall, the Homelander scenes were fantastic. They were pretty much the best part about the whole episode. Again, the interviews with the girls for the Deep's wives really broke the whole episode up, which I didn't think was very good. But I would still give it a 7 out of 10 for the simple fact that Homelander is a straight psycho. He's just going crazy. His ego is so fragile, and he's trying to think of how to rebrand it, himself. So I'll be doing the episode 5 review on this week or early next week. So please hit the like button if you did like this video, and hit subscribe, as I'll be doing more reviews on television shows, movies, games, and other things. Everybody, take care for now.